Welcome back, Lafian and Zaltanna, to the Lucky Die. Previously, Lafian and Zaltanna update one another and mingle before the meeting. Arriving at the GDC, now rebranded to the Eventide, Shield welcomes them to the council and directs them to mingle with the powerful folks of Bikron, including the Darkhammers, Homer, and Epenemon. With Shield calling a start to the meeting, Lafian and Zaltanna take their seats. Why was King Thakit randomly called? How will the various cultures get along? And will there be any unpleasant surprises? I guess we're about to find out. Welcome back to the Lucky Die.
The first item on the agenda is the food situation. As we know, there has been a catastrophic event in which the blissful Eclipse managed to destroy much of the plants that were feeding the animals and ourselves, of course, and many of the rations and food and drink have been destroyed. There has been some work, I believe, from the Mage's Circle, and he points at Trampel, who just nods and takes and basks in all the glory that Squash bestowed him. And the help that they have received from the Daffodil family in getting the good berry out to as many people as possible. I believe they have finally started arriving in Kino. Is this correct, Admiral and Baracus? And you see that they both nod. Good. So, at the moment there is an issue. I understand there are some people who have ideas on any remedies that we can perhaps exploit or look into it. Does anybody have any ideas on how we can solve the immediate problem? As we know, this is a long-term solution that has to be worked on. You see Homer kind of tap his staff on the floor, and he says, "The folks of us down in the Earth Dark on Kino Discover site, we found that not as much of our supplies have been destroyed as you've got up here. So there are some people down there that are trying to grow plants and mushrooms and moss and some of the other creatures that we farm quite extensively down there at an extreme rate, so we can help some of you all up here with your food shortage. In exchange, of course, we're going to need some supplies to keep this going while you manage to get your overland supplies sorted out, so we can help you a little bit with that. I know that is sort of long-term stuff, but we should be able to help feed those people who are more closer to the Earth Dark Tunnel entrances. So I believe there's one just outside here in near Fool's Hope. And I know that there's a couple over in Kino and one over in Beligbood. But beyond that, we will do what we can. It's not a solution, but at least it will help some people." And he sits down, and you see a couple of folks nod and agree. And Epenemon very gingerly pushes his chair back and hear across the floor as he stands up, and he says, I'm Epenemon. I come from Gieta. I have come with seeds and bulbs and plants that we grow in the winter, and they may be useful for you here. We've also bought incantations and information that should help grow the plants faster, and there are saps. There are saps in the trees that some of you use as houses that you can convert to feed the animals so you can get milk and eggs and stuff. And he just like sits down and looks like he has said too much. Like he's very nervous and everyone is looking at him.
I think Lafian is like taking notes.
Trempel like raises a hand and Gilles nods for him to speak. And without standing, Trempel just says, yeah, so friends of mine mentioned that there are some storages Bisford Clips have. Scrolls, food, things that kept safe. There's a couple of them around. I don't know if any of you are close to Empty Shallows or if anyone's close to Alpha Nazir or anything. Heard there's supplies there that maybe we could go raid, possibility. My people are busy with scrolls, such like keeping you fed. So just putting it out there. Maybe I want to go read that.
I think in the mind ring link, Lafian just more so, I think, aiming towards Zaltanna because he doesn't know what Rawl and Squash are doing, but they can be listening, I suppose.
Yeah.
Since they're not here right now. Zaltanna, what do you think about us actually maybe heading that sort of thing, going down to Empty Shallows and liberating their supplies? We do have a wonderful guide in the form of Squash.
Honestly, I think that would be a great idea, and I feel like Squash will be very in for it. I mean, maybe not at first, but I think that we can convince him to be...
Sorry.
Just imagining Zaltanna being like, oh yeah, he'll want to liberate us. Oh, nope. No, he probably will not want to go back there, but we can talk him into it, I bet.
Yeah, we can convince him. It's fine. Yeah, I think in that case, then Lafian will stand up and address the room. I believe that my comrades and I could spearhead taking Empty Shallows supplies and liberating them for better use.
Apella kind of like stands and Shield like gives her like permission to chat, and she says, and where would you be handing out these supplies? Like, who gets a priority on that? If I might put forward an idea?
Yes, please, because I have a response, but it's so snarky, and I don't think that that's going to be helpful.
Empress Apella like nods and she says, there's been a couple of us sort of communicating backwards and forwards. Your father, folks over in Kino, Army of the Three, with your permission, your bloodiness, and Helsif, we've come up with a battle plan, so to speak, for when things go down. I would like to put forward that depending on the size and the cash of the things that you find, that we make sure that the people who are about to go in and fight this thing hand in hand get the supplies so they've got the strength. That's what I'm going to put forward. I know that it sucks for the folks who aren't involved in this fight and they're the ones really feeling this struggle. But if we don't keep our fighters safe and we don't keep them healthy, we ain't going to have a world left to save. That's my opinion. I mean, you're going to be the ones liberating it, so it's your choice. But I would like to put it forward as an idea. And then she sits down.
I personally think it a fantastic idea, and I am inclined to agree. Strategically speaking, and with the upcoming conflicts, it is very much needed. A war's not won without its soldiers.
Damaz raises a hand and stands also, and he says, if only seems right, whenever there's a task being split up, your team, my team, there's another that Trempel mentioned up north from the sounds of it. Which one do you want to take? The one at Empty Shallows that might upset our mutual friend, or do you want to take the one north?
I'm going to basically in the mind link be like, Squash, you know Empty Shallows better than any of us. Are you okay going back there, or would you rather go to this other place?
You get a response back, kind of a little bit confused, and as you expected, kind of quite hesitant. And he sounds that in his voice when he starts to speak and starts to be like,
I'm not really sure. I'd rather do empty shallows, but I need to sort something out first.
Okay. In that case, then Lafian will directly look at Damaz, since he is also standing and brought this up, and our mutual friend reluctantly accepts, but acknowledges that pre-existing knowledge will be of great aid.
Yeah. Thought as much. Bloody stupid bastard. All right. Me and my guys will go north. And Helsif just bangs the table and agrees. Us and Yelkath will go north. We'll make sure we'll grab that on the way home. We'll get the supplies spread out, as you say, Empress Apella. All right. And with that, he sits down.
Lafian sits as well.
You see the goblin woman stand. She's quite short, even for a goblin. And she says in obviously what is magically altered, because you would not understand her otherwise. She says, the scrolls that are making their way into Kino, we are quite grateful for what it is that you have done. I believe that the Mages Circle are to thank for that, as are the Dathradir family. We appreciate your work. It has come to my attention, however, as I have been travelling through our lands, that you require magic for such good berries. This is all well and good, but there aren't that many magic users out at the edges of civilization and beyond. Not enough to feed entire towns or small villages, for example. But I would like to put forward this. And you see that the red tiefling stands up and he holds like this kind of, just like a small book, and he puts it on the table in front of Gilles, who waves a hand, and it is duplicated across all of your tables. And the woman says, the spell seems to have been targeted at food, traditional crops and plants and such, like rations, anything that has been brought up and labelled food. There are actually many things out in the wilds that are not traditionally considered food, but can be turned into soups and stews, good teas, and provide enough sustenance to get folks through the winter, even in such a terrible time. I know that for some of you who are mostly sheltered, no offence, living in towns or mountains, foraging is a lost art. And there are, as those from the Earthdark mentioned, mushrooms and such like, that can be used as sustenance and food. It will require a lot of work and a lot of management to make sure that we don't strip these areas bare, but we'd like to offer this as a good stand between. And if we can find a way of getting goats and sheep and other small farm animals away from the big farmers and into the hands of those who live in smaller areas, that would be enough to at least get them through this winter and get the things restocked. That's what we propose. We ourselves have a very similar setup where there are bases of the Blissful Eclipse, and we will be raiding them for similar supplies. If the Blissful Eclipse bases here on Discord are anything to mention, there must be similar things over in Kino, and we shall do that for ourselves. And yes, I will make sure that, as Empress Apella says, I'll make sure that they are given out to the warriors first. She kind of like nods her head and sits down. You can tell that she's scanning everyone. She's like having a good read on what everybody is doing, although she hasn't really said much up until this point. Gilles stands after having duplicated all the books and he says, is there anything anybody else wishes to bring up about food before we move on to the next issue? He looks around. Nobody seems to be waving a hand or saying anything. They're just nodding and thinking over what it is. All right, then we shall move on to the next item. The current Blissful Eclipse. There is news about this. about where they are. As far as I am led to understand, that there are 2 people in this room, and he points over at you, Lafian, at you, Zaltanna, that have had a great hand in taking out one of their great leaders, an avatar of the political eclipse, and we're all grateful to you. I thought we should at least start with that acknowledgement. We appreciate that you have cut the head of the snake. Unfortunately, this snake has many heads and will continue to attack us, but your work, it is not gone unnoticed. And you see, like, most people would, like, they either do a polite golf clap or a nod. A pen one's, like, full on, like, yeah! And then realise this is not the situation for it. Trempar reaches up and puts his hand and lowers the clapping.
Oh, Pen, we appreciate it.
Oh, Pen.
Good guy, Pen.
Yeah, good guy, Pen. With that, Adenlov puts her hand up again. And, the goblin lady puts her hand up again, and she steps forward and she says, my people have essentially removed the ability of the agents of the Blissful Eclipse to continue killing our gods. There is something called an alchemist stone, which is required to create items that are used. They have all since been dispersed. I have no exact idea on when any of those are, but without them, it means there will be no more god deaths between here and there. And you see, like, a genuine, like, a bit more of applause and nod, but she raises the hand that she has. And she says, however, there are still a few other things. More recently, one of my... No, I guess I shouldn't call them teams anymore. A group of people that I trust explicitly. They've managed to capture various high-ranking members of the Blissful Eclipse, and it's not common knowledge that these people have been captured. They are still unaware, as far as we understand, that the Blissful Eclipse knows that these people are missing. But there is a larger threat coming before the fight. In approximately 4 days, there are a group of people who will ensure the completion of a spell. And this spell, as far as we have been led to believe from the people we have captured, will seek to trick us en masse, much as I understand that the shadow attacks have been quite large in Discora because of when they were cast. It is similar to this line, but different. We urge caution over the next few days, especially 4 days from now. We believe that this is going to take place on an island called Azatlan. We believe that the Leonins, one of the people there, that he will be finishing off this spell, but our reluctant informants let us know that there are at least a dozen other people who could complete this. If it is not done on day 4 from here, day 5 from here, right up until the battle. Now, my people are going to do what they can, but the only thing we know for sure right now is that on Azatlan in 4 days, a spell will be completed. And it will be as devastating, if not more than, when the shadows attacked you. My people, I'm going to send them to take down some of the cells that have been identified as potentially casting this spell, but I believe that is one that, for those of you who are on Discora, may be easier for you to deal with than us. And with that, she sits down. Is there any other information about the Blissful Eclipse that we should know? As far as I am led to believe, there is not many other cells operating, and if they are small and acting independently. Does anybody else have any news to depart or any information they wish to ask?
I know the name of the person on Azatlan.
You should do, yeah.
Because we got that.
Yeah. You got that from your prisoner.
Yeah, Lafian's going to put a hand up.
She'll nods and directs you to stand and speak.
Lafian stands up and we actually similarly had a prisoner that we were able to get some information from, directly relating to this Azatland. I have the name of the leader.
Helsif stands and she says, Zatlan. That is the island south of mine. What is this name?
The name is Parazi?
Parazi is one of the leaders of that island. It's home to a cult. An order, as some of them like to be called. I understand who this one is. I will see to it that that one is taken out. That doesn't help with the others, but at least this will be one that we can control.
Do we have anything coming up besides the now planned raid of food?
I don't think so.
Then in that case, Lafian will turn to Helsif, and if you are able to keep that one alive and in custody whenever my comrades and I are completed our mission, I may be able to assist in getting more information out of that one.
When we finish raiding our place and you finished with Empty Shallows, we'll meet in Falsum. I'll take you there. You can come with if you wish.
Sounds like a plan.
My sister to be can probably get messages to you about that. We'll pass information through her.
Sister to be... Oh. There's probably
an audible penny drop.
There's a very brief pause before there's like a flicker of understanding across Lafian's face, and then it goes back to business.
You see Damas kind of begins to flush a little bit as he realizes that you've put pieces together.
I think that will work wonderfully for us then. We will be in touch.
She nods and sits down. Okay. If there is anything else, we shall see that the Elsif here shall be the one that we pass the information to, and we shall leave her in charge along with the Lafian. Next item on the agenda is one of the items that was the cause of the treaty in the first place. Is that what to do with the dead? And you see the room go quite quiet. And Jill says, as I understand it, in the fight that is to be, the barriers between all of the planes shall drop. And once the fight is over and everybody is back in their places, the dead to the Z planes, the living to the dead, living to the living, and the goddesses, and looks at Zaltanna, to the correct realm. However, once the barriers between the planes go back up, there shall be all. There shall be no rifts, there shall be no alls, there shall be no portals. This is something that Empress Abella, by way of Daisy, has asked that we bring up. As I understand it, the residents of Kino are okay with the revivification and the bringing back from the dead, whereas on Discora, that is not a thing, nor it is on Ogath Isles. And you see Helsif tap her foot on the floor, and you also note Damas kind of just looks down, being that he is a revived person. He looks over at Daisy and she stands up. She is the very young, dark-skinned woman that you saw sitting with Apella, and she looks nervous. She is clearly the youngest person here by an absolute mile. And she says, "Hi, I'm Daisy Peacebleeder, and I'm a Rift Walker. I understand that bringing people back from the dead, no one wants to lose anyone, but we can't have people brought back. It creates a rift, a hole. I mean, you literally have to punch into the stalking in an unnatural way, and that rift doesn't close again until that person dies. That's how the ever-present threat got so bad." With that, she takes a deep breath and she sits down. The halfling mage that's in the room kind of asks to speak, and they stand. They have a look that's kind of similar to Squash's, like they have a hair that's been slicked back and into a ponytail, but everything else about them doesn't ring true at all. There is a lot of runes covering their body where you can barely see any of the skin. And they say, thing is, about this death thing, there are people that we need back from the dead. You know? People that we've lost, people that are important. We can solve murders, we can study it. And the only way that we can study this kind of magic is by doing it. We can't defend ourselves against liches and necromancers unless we understand how to use it. So I think we need to make exceptions. I think we need to decide. That's from a magical point of view. Politically, either side, it's up to you. But I think if we're going to outlaw it, as your Riftwalker says, we've got to do it right. Do it in a way that keeps us safe, in a way that allows some people we really need back. I don't know, just a thought. And you see that they kind of sit down and they kind of roll their shoulders. You see a lot of people look uncomfortable. And then you see that Thakit stands up and he says, I agree. I think we need to put a stop to people being thrown in prison for reviving people and for being revived. I think we need to put a stop to that. I think we generally need to say, let's put a stop to this reviving thing. Let's just not, unless it's an extreme. But who gets to decide who gets to come back? I don't think that's a toll I want to put on anyone. I mean, do you want to decide? And you can see that he's like looking at a lot of people and holding their gaze. I certainly don't. I'm not going to punish it. I'm not going to encourage it. I'm not going to choose who lives and who dies. That's not what we're going to do in the Dwarven Kingdom. The rest of you can do what you want. Don't care. That's what we're going to do. And with that, he sits down.
I think Lafian stands up. Looking at it from both sides, there are many valid points here. The thought I'm having is, at the end of the day, we will not be able to control all of the people on either side of this sort of a discussion. There are going to be people that are going to do it if it's illegal. There are going to be people that do it regardless of if it's legal. There are going to be people that don't necessarily feel comfortable being anywhere near someone that has died or has brought someone back. So instead of worrying about who started the fire, metaphorically, what if we instead put together people that are meant specifically to clean up these messes, so to speak? Specific teams that their entire jobs are keeping an eye out for these rifts that open up and getting them closed as best as they can. It has been done before. I've witnessed it, these rifts being closed. If we can find a more efficient way to do it, if there are...
Daisy raises a hand.
Please.
I'm sorry to correct you, but you might have seen portals from god deaths be closed. It's not the same as a person who dies, the portal that they get left behind with that. It's more like a shimmer in the air than it is a straight up hole to another plane. They don't close unless the person is passed on. I'm sorry to correct you, but you're not correct in your thinking there.
How sure are we on this?
I'm pretty sure. I can tell you, if another god were to die, and according to Adnalov, that's not going to be a thing. But if another major rift were to form, I could find it. It's my specialty. But the ones where people die, I can find them. I could probably tell you where people who've revived in this room, where their portals are. And you see her eyes look over at Damas and then back to you. And we could maybe contain it, but we can't close it. Not until their death. That's not how that works. I mean, with Empress Apella's permission, I could teach people how to find those, and we could contain them so that anything that comes through we can send back, I guess. Would that be an acceptable compromise?
I think it's a good start, but I personally am not content with that. I've seen magic do a great many things. I personally find it hard to believe that every avenue has been explored in how these could potentially be removed, destroyed, closed. I understand maybe it might not have ever been successfully done up to date, but magic is ever progressing. People are learning new things. I wonder if there are perhaps ways out there, just we haven't found them yet.
That, I don't disagree. That could be very true. But that could be years off. It could be centuries. It could be tomorrow. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but this rift thing I'm pretty good at. But I'm not that magically powerful yet. Maybe one day I could close them. Maybe there are other rift walkers out there who could already close them. They just don't know how. But to do that, we need to study them. And the only way we can study them is by bringing people back. If the walls go back up, the veils go back up complete, we've got nothing to study. And the only way we can study them is if we do exactly what we're trying to avoid doing.
It's a very touchy subject and a very difficult one. My thought on a compromise would then be doing as you suggested, of having more people learning to locate these and trying to contain them so that perhaps they can be then studied. And maybe one day we will have a means of closing them then.
I should hope so, but I think there'll always be... I mean, my mama told me that dead things are supposed to stay dead. It's not the natural order. I mean, magic's not a natural order either, but it's slightly different. It's a tool. My mum always told me that dead things should stay dead. Sorry. And she looks over at Damas and shrugs her shoulders.
I think we've both said our piece then.
They nod. And she sits down. And Sheil says, when we come to draw up the treaty, we shall have these groups put together under Daisy, and she nods, to locate and find the rifts and to study them. There must be other people in Kino who have similar abilities. And Adlov nods. The goblin woman nods, and she says, yes, I believe there are a few folks within the assemblies that can probably help with this. I'll send them along to you, Daisy. And Daisy kind of has a wide-eyed look, and she just nods. Okay. Okay. This is something that cannot be properly dealt with or be dealing with over the next day or so. This is something we shall have to return after to talk about. Once the treaty is written up and finalized, it is something we must include. But it is a good topic to have brought up, and it shall give each of you time to consider what it is that you wish to have your areas look into. Finally, I have to talk about the new treaty. Who will be signing it? Who will not be a part of it? What the local areas look like? Most of the people here agree that each current area, Kino, Gieta, the Earthdark, Ogathayas, the dusk as it once was, now the kingdom of the elves and the kingdom of the dwarves and the dawn. Each of these shall be signing on behalf of their own people, and you shall all be, as I understand it, a part of this. Whether you have open borders or not is something to be discussed. Whether you want to have a set, and at this point you see Homer raise a hand. And he kind of steps off his stool and he says, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but the Earth Dark has always been, and it will always be, a refuge for folks who don't want to be part of your system. There's got to be a place for people like that to go. So, both Kino and Discorer, the few places around Ogath, I'm sorry, we can't sign any global treaty like that. We were never part of it in the first place, and we want to continue that way. There are folks who don't even want to be a part of this fight. They consider it an overlander fight, nothing to do with us. They are, how do I politely put this, backwards thinking idiots. But there are a few of us that think that this is worth fighting through. There's a group of people very close to Empty Shallows who had a visit from a young halfling, decided that they were going to fight. They came and found us. We found a few folks who were underneath the Arcath Isles who'd been clearing the pathway so that we can get other folks from Kino across. And we all agree we're going to be part of this fight because it's bigger than us. But afterwards, the Earth's dark. We're not part of your treaty. We're not part of your trade agreements. We're not part of your open borders. We're not part of any of that. We will be as we are. Sorry. And with that, he kind of like sits back on his stool. Okay, this is what it is that you are thinking for the Earthdark people? That is understood. I think each of us have many things to go back to discuss and talk with our people. The Eventide is open to all of you whenever it is you wish to visit and talk. I will send out more information and finalist notes to your various leaders if you are not them yourselves. And he looks specifically over at you, Lafian. And of course, I wish each of you is the best in what it is that you're about to take place in. Is there anything else that anybody wishes to bring up? Any other business before I call this to an end and you can continue to bicker amongst yourselves without a parent to look after you?
Jill got no chill today.
Jill's having none of this shit today. Okay. If there is nothing else, I think the specifics of trade agreements and borders and such like can be discussed another day. But it is good that we have some of these conversations here started already. All right. The first collected of the Eventide is over. I thank you all for coming. Do not wreck my place. And with that, he snaps his fingers, and you see the table, the chair, the things he was writing on just disappear. He gives a short bow, and he makes his way out of the room. Wow, that was a lot, huh?
I've seen longer, but
Yeah.
it's been quite a while since I was part of one of these, so.
Yeah. It's a lot of people, a lot of opinions. It's a lot. Wow. Do you need any help with the raid or anything? Or do you think I can go back to Geotar and explain with them?
How comfortable are you with combat?
Honestly, not much. I'm more of a looking at the stars kind of a guy. You know, look to the future.
Then perhaps you can keep an eye on our future then. If you see any ill tidings for our raid, perhaps try to let us know before it happens.
It's quite difficult when there aren't any stars. He kind of like looks awkward.
Right.
He says, I think tonight might be the last time we see stars, or maybe tomorrow. Look,
Rather depressing thought.
yeah. Well, I say that. What I mean to say is, It's last time before we defeat the blissful eclipse. Yeah. And he looks like he's bummed himself out.
We're going to win. I've no doubt about that.
Yeah, damn right we are. And you see that Damaz and Helsif have come to join each of you.
Gives him a smile.
Hey, Dimas!
He kind of like drops to one knee, bows his head, then stands back up again.
Oh, no, fuck that.
Fair enough. He bloody
Do the warrior brace thing.
Yeah. He reaches out an arm instead. Is it the predator shake or whatever the fuck it's called? I don't know. You know what I'm chatting about.
Yeah, the really incredibly vascular predator
Yes,
shake.
100%. He reaches out in that instead. You bloodiness. Yeah, of course we're going to win. Like, we have a goddess of bloody vengeance right here. We got the master of... He waves his hands near his head. Doesn't want to say it out loud. Yeah.
Thanks.
We got
Thanks.
people of responsibility and, well, you got us. And he looks between himself and Helsif. Yeah, Trimpo, no. Yeah, whatever. All right.
We have an army. We have a Zaltanna.
You see Trempal's chewing again. He's like, all right, it's blowed. Layers. And he just leaves.
No one take us with you.
Yeah, as he gets to the door, he kind of stops. You see him like drop his head, drop his shoulders. He turns around and looks at the group of you and he says, you want a lift?
Yes, please.
All right.
We have a village to raid.
Yeah! We gotta go find Squash.
Oh, yeah. I would not want to give that information up. All right. Look, I've got to go talk to the Witches Society and whatever the hell they call it in Kenonian or whatever the fuck they call it. I'll go talk to them, set some things up, and it'll be good to go and meet you at the where Jill hangs out. Yeah.
Sure. I need to figure out how the hell I'm getting a message to my father.
Oh, like
There's a lot of people who use magic here.
yeah. But you would also know
Well-
that Jill could do the same thing. Like he's done that before for you. Oh.
Yeah, true. Gilles is also a neutral. Well, but also Gilles tried to insinuate that my family owes some bullshit amount of money.
Yeah, pretty rough.
So I don't want to be owing anymore.
Tell them to add it to your tab.
No.
You don't
This
have
should
to
not-
pay it. That's your father's
Zaltanna, there should not be a tab. There should not be a tab. He literally held my parents captive and refuses to make any sort of amends for it.
You know, do you want me to like? Do you need me to like go? You know, rough
Bloody
him up,
vengeance
or-
it?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not that far down the god hole, thank you.
I could do it though if you asked.
No, I feel
you want
like
me to
any
pull
sort
up-
of
I'm learning to get a lot more in touch with my emotional core. So do you want me to like go gently talk to him?
Zaltanna, I can't understand where. What? I'm trying not to read into it too much, but you're making it very hard for me to not read into it too much.
Well, you know, that's just because I grew up in a gang, so everything I say sounds like I'm gonna beat people up. I can't help it. That's just how I talk.
Okay. If you would like to try your hands at diplomacy, yes. Please keep your weapons sheathed.
Okay.
And I don't mean hit him with the sheath.
Yeah,
please.
I'm just checking. You know this. You know he's a horseman of the apocalypse, right? You do know that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't want to find out who would win in a fight between a deity and a horseman. I don't want to find out who wins. I don't.
Smart.
I do.
No, I do. After we save the world, if you want to try picking a fight, that's fine. Just not right now, please.
Okay, but remember, when I pick a fight with him after we save the world, that you said it was okay. No takebacks, and she walks off.
I feel like he turns to Damaz and goes, "You remember that part where we were just talking about how the deities after end up going to their place?" Never mind.
Oh, Zaltanna absolutely thinks that she can come and visit whenever she wants. So
I mean, you might.
Yeah,
You might, actually.
Technically, me and Helsif will be Sultana's mouthpiece on our material plane. It's not too. Sorry, our physical plane, not like.
Is that the moment that Demes realizes that means he's gonna have to fight a horse?
Oh shit! Yeah, like not a penny, a whole fucking bank vault.
The record scratch is audible across the building.
You see Helsif put like a giant hand on his shoulder, and you can tell that she's laughing her ass off. Yeah.
Congrats, by the way.
Huh? What?
Huh? What? No, just congratulations. Just
Who told you? Was it Squash? Was it Demi? Did she spill her mouth?
No, I'm just very good at picking up on certain social cues while we were in the room.
Zaltanna calls back from the other room. It's his inquisitive nature. Because we haven't heard that in like 100 episodes.
100+ episodes. Damas kind of like looks really like embarrassed, I guess, or kind of like shy more than anything else. And he's like, "Oh, well, thanks, I guess. I mean, we haven't exactly decided what we would call it yet, but yeah, all right. Well, catch you guys on the other side, I guess. Azatlan, right? Check out Azatlan."
Right. Yes.
With that, he kind of like nods, and he and Helsif leave. She's clearly...
And Lafian is left with Tremple. Oh, wait, no, Tremple went off. I'm by myself.
Yep, Penemon's already like, as you turn around, like, yeah, well, at least Penemon's it. No, Penemon's like snuck off. He's already gone.
Okay, I'm going to hide around the corner and try to listen to if Zaltanna tries to murder Jill.
I say 100% you're going to be able to hear this if you want to. Zaltanna, you rock up to Jill, who is like currently like signing out a few guests. You can see Apella and her companion Daisy are just like riding and conversing, and then they're making their way out. Like Jill looks up at you and he's like, Zaltanna, what it is that I can do for you?
I'm here to negotiate on behalf of the Dathordias.
Okay. You are aware that you have your own room here, yes? Do not need to stay in their smaller apartment. You would have your own as a goddess to be, also the wife of a goddess.
No, I know that. It's not about that. It's more about the fact that it's stressing out Lafian, and he's my friend, and I do frankly think it's a little unfair that you're charging interest on his room, especially considering you were holding his parents captive.
I did not order him captive. No, wait, I did. Yeah, you're right, I did.
Yeah,
wait,
did.
Did I do that?
You held
yeah, that was me. Wait, my bad.
You gotta forgive the debt, man. You.
That was the old me. That was part of the old establishment. That is not me. That is not my current business.
Okay, who should I talk to about that then?
That Jill. He is long dead.
Okay.
What?
Well, what can this Jill do about the fact that the old him held the parents, held the king and queen captive, and
at the time, I believe they were just the prince and the prince's consort.
Sure, but
I tell you what it is I can do. I can forgive the debt of the old.
Mm-hmm.
But that does mean that there is no a suite or apartment set aside for them.
Okay. Well, how about you make them a new suite and I will pay their first... How much is their suite?
It is 450 gold for each of the turnings of the Bicron.
Okay.
That's a lot.
What is the turning of a Bicron?
It's a year.
Like a day?
A year.
A year? 450 gold for a year?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what if I pay half of that now, and then they pay the rest at the end of the turning of the Bikron. Would that work for you?
Yes, as well, executives. You do not ask to pay this until the word is saved. If it is not saved, I forgive you that.
Okay. And she reaches out her hand.
He looks at your hand and he genuinely stares at it for a moment, considering if he's going to shake it.
Where I come from, when you make a gentleman's agreement, you shake the hand.
That is not my problem. I would happily agree to it, but a person as Varig, they do not make deals with gods that are quite so formal.
Okay. High five then?
Yes,
Fist
it is.
bump? I feel like we gotta do something.
I would take your signature if that is acceptable to you. You can, as my signature.
How about elbow bump? Elbow bump?
He raises a fist for a bump. Like eyes rolling, just pure like annoyance.
She gives him a fist bump, and then she gives him some finger guns, and she goes, "Pleasure doing business," and walks back to Lafian.
You hear him muttering something in his language. Yeah.
As soon as you round the corner and see Lafian standing there, he just... I'm very glad you did not agree on the signature part.
Yeah, what do I look like, an idiot? I don't need no one having my signature.
No, I'm very inclined to agree with you.
Especially considering I'm about to be a god, that feels like a really bad idea.
Right, because that's probably how someone uses some sort of magic-y thing to suddenly do something bad.
Yeah. No one can
Signature
do
of
nothing
the
when they
deity.
do. Fist bump.
You know, I don't think fist bumps have ever been explored from a magical standpoint, so don't know.
I'm going to look into that once I am officially a god, because I feel like maybe that's how my followers seal their pacts, is like a solid fist bump or like a chest slam, you know?
Chest slam.
Yeah. You know, like when you jump at each other and you hit each other in the chest with your chest.
Ah, yes, okay.
Chest slam.
Right, yes. I'm somewhat unfamiliar with the finer detailings of that.
At this point, you notice that Daisy has kind of like sidled up to the pair of you, and she doesn't look like she wants to interrupt, but she does want to like get your attention. She's just standing very quietly nearby.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Daisy Peacebleeder. You're Prince Lafian Dathradir.
Yes, that is I.
It's nice to meet you. I'm sorry I took such a hard stand against you just now, but I just want you to know that
that's the way of politics.
I think that's more like my Empress's line than mine. Yeah. I just wanted to say thank you both for what you've done. My brother is one of the ones that helped to stop the god deaths, and I know what he had to give up for that, and I can only imagine what you two have done. So I just wanted to say thank you. And if you need anything, you just have to find me through Appella's people or send a message to me. Oh, that was it. That's all I wanted to say.
No, it's appreciated. And all I ask is that it be considered research-wise. I'm very stubborn like that. Explore all avenues before saying it's a hard no.
I really want to explore this too. And if the world wasn't being put back together whole, I find them fascinating. The idea of like passing between the veils. I know that it leaves a bit of a rift and a hole, but most of them heal over with time, like teleporting or going to the stalking for a visit and coming back again. Like those heal. It's just the dead ones don't. And I'd like to explore how to close that. Like if I can figure out how teleporting those ones close, and maybe I could do that to the others, but I don't really have the time.
Random thought, just the way you just explained it. So teleportation does similar, but it heals.
Right, yeah. It's a much, much smaller hole because you're just kind of like elongating yourself. Your energies become like a pinpoint and you just through. So it's like a really small, like if you got like a parchment cut, it heals after a little bit of time, right? But if you're unlike bringing a soul through or going to get a soul, you're kind of a whole big blob of energy you're pulling through at once, more like a cannonball or a big sword wound. They take a lot longer to heal. So it's kind of a bit like that.
God, Arch has so many ideas how this could be like finagled around.
Yeah. So I'd like to figure that out, but right now I don't have the time. I'm helping Apella's army and checking on my family and such like. So,
of course, we can always have more discussions afterwards.
Yeah, I'd like that. I know that you're busy and that you're a prince, and I'm just an advisor to an empress. But I'd like that if that's okay.
I am nothing if not a scholar. I am always interested in learning and providing logical thought where possible.
Good. It was nice to meet you both. Your bloodiness, and she kind of like tries to do like a bow, but she's obviously like fucking it up. She's just,
oh no, you're good. You're good.
I saw your she puts an arm out to do a predator shake. Like she has quite weedy arms, but like she's just gonna go for it anyway.
I'll give her a good shake.
She has a surprisingly good grip. For somebody like maybe she doesn't like she knows this shake. She's just not particularly strong. She has a good grip on it though. My brother would never forgive me if I didn't try. So anyway, nice to meet you both. And with that, like she walks back over to Apella and the two of them instantly disappear. Is there anything else you guys would like to do before I have Trempel come and rescue y'all?
Nope.
No, I think that's pretty much it, right?
Okay. Probably after about 10, 15 minutes, you see Trempel come back and he's furiously writing on a scroll something that has occurred to him or something that came up in conversation with the others. And he's like still like scribbling away as he comes to the pair of you and he's like, all right, you ready to go? Falsum? Samaras?
Think so.
Philippou? Kino?
Yeah.
Right. Fast moves then. Any metal? Yeah, of course you bloody are. With that, he kind of like reaches out a hand and puts it on either of your shoulders. And with a bit of a tug on the back of the navel, you find yourself like going straight through the stalking. And you find yourself standing in the temple below Falsum. Trempel, half a second later, he himself disappears. He's obviously gone off to wherever it is he needs to go. But yeah, you find yourself in the temple under Falsum, and I think that's a good point to stop. Episode 250. What a cracker of an episode. I spent a lot of time talking to myself, but it still was a lot of fun and like so many things happened in this episode. I was really excited about this episode coming up. Also really nervous because there's a lot of things to keep straight, but just it was awesome. So yeah, again, thank you to Arch and Casey for playing this with me because this was fairly intense. So also apart from like our usual round of thanks, I actually also need to thank Aethel, because I genuinely did have to go basically wake him up and ask him what he wanted to do because we, Arch, Casey and I were recording like 2 a.m. my time. So yeah, it was a thing. So first I need to thank him. He also very kindly recorded the extra voice line for us. But talking of thanks, I also need to thank one of our new patrons, Mr. Drifter. Thank you so much. We do really appreciate people supporting us, being able to tell this story that we're still on somehow 7, almost 8 years at this point. So genuinely all the patrons, and especially our new patron, thank you so much. If you want to keep helping out the show, there is another way to do it that doesn't actually cost anything at all, and that's leaving us a review literally anywhere or commenting on any of the places where you find our episodes that allow it. So like Spotify and on YouTube, and if you can do reviews on like Apple and all this good stuff, it genuinely helps more people find us. It has more things to be searched by, and recommendations from people always just make a difference. So yeah, that would just be a great way if any of you want to be able to do anything like that. That would be really nice. Thank you so much. I'm also going to basically shout out another podcast that I came across fairly recently called That Cthulhu Yawn. I was looking for Call of Cthulhu podcasts, and they were on the list of ones I just need to give a shot. So here's the ad. Enjoy, and if you like it, go subscribe. All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much for getting through 250 episodes of our shenanigans. So yeah, really, thank you so much. And I hope you continue to enjoy what's left of the season. Bye.
Are you ready for a journey into the unknown recesses of what lies beyond your perception?
Where's my fucking aunt?
I never even got to meet up with her that night.
How did you find the blood then?
Will you heed the call of Cthulhu?
That's not true. Cthulhu is sleeping.
We are That Cthulhu John, a real play 7th edition Call of Cthulhu podcast.
I'm a Navy gravy baby.
Join us for mystery and the mind-bending atrocities of the uncaring cosmic mythos.
Stuffs that thing in there, kicks the body in the face, make sure the trunk closes.
Try to keep your bearings if you must, but sanity is overrated.